Hey, we're back. This time we're going to be taking a look at the Fire Dragon expansion for Arcadia Quest. This is the final level 6 boss for the campaign. Adds a new final stage. It's kind of a co-op where you're trying to save the city from a dragon. Fire one here is actually my personal favorite. If for anything else, just because he looks awesome, but I love the fire abilities, the way they explode and spread throughout the map. Anyway, we're going to get in there and take a look. So first thing we have is our scenario book. Set up just like the other dragon books. The first half or so explains about the dragon himself and how his various abilities work. And the second half is based on the scenarios, both for Inferno and regular Arcadia Quest. And here's a quick thing on the fire tokens. These actually, once you get lit on fire, will damage your character every turn until you rest to put them out. The more interesting are the fire tokens that go on the board. And when they get to a certain point, they explode, dealing damage to things around and spreading, which can cause chain reactions, spreading and exploding, and bad things can happen really quickly, which is why I love the Fire Dragon here. And if he manages to burn down enough of the town, he wins. So, kind of a neat thing. Again, disappointed that the actual scenarios themselves are the same as the other dragons, but the dragons themselves have enough different abilities which make them feel like a different fight. And we have our new game tile for Inferno on one side and the regular Arcadia Quest on the other. It's hard to tell because with the Fire Dragon everything's on fire anyway. Again, they said the same style insert. At least this guy doesn't have wings, so you don't have to worry about putting them on or off. But they didn't give you any place to put your tokens in there. So I got myself some convenient baggies to keep track of my fire tokens, as well as the, I'm not sure what these are called, fire bombs or explosions, or they're part of the dragon's ability. So we do have a new mission card to go as part of the new scenario. Again, this is the Ground the Dragon, which is the first part of the scenario where you're trying to knock him out of the sky. Surprisingly enough, this dragon doesn't have wings, yet he still flies for that first part, which seems kind of odd and awkward, and like they generically just threw the dragons in there. But they actually go and explain it in the book. There is a really neat fluff story in the beginning of each book that explains the background on the dragon. Some of them are very zany and off the wall. Fits right in with Arcadia Quest, though. Then you have two versions of the dragon here. There's a young and an elder. I'm backward there somewhere. And the young one you're going to be using if it's your first boss fight against dragons. There's an initial fight, which is when he's in the air and you knock him to the ground. And then there's a final, which is the version you're going to use once they're grounded. If you're playing multiple of the dragon expansions and this isn't your first one, you're going to have some extra gear. They suggest you use the Elder version of the dragon, which also has an initial contact and then a final once he's on the ground. As with the other dragons, this one has a turn deck, which is going to be the AI that controls how the dragon moves and attacks and what he's doing, as well as where he flies. A lot of these, they jump around the board, which is kind of neat. You can't corner them in. And these give you kind of a unique experience as if somebody's controlling the dragon instead of just sitting there and reacting to your actions like most of the creatures do in Arcadia Quest. Next we have a set of the Dragonstone cards. These are color-coded to the dragons too. And they function just like the Brimstone cards in Inferno and the Gravestone, Tombstone cards, I think they're called, in Beyond the Grave. And you step on them, you use a movement point to flip them over, and various things, good or bad, can happen as a result. As with the other dragons, since you are having a level 6 campaign, there's a whole new set of level 6 cards to draft from to get new equipment for your guild. Some of them are the same between the dragon expansions. There are a couple different ones here and there. And there's a lot of these dragon sets, which give you additional bonuses for having multiples of the dragon equipment. Probably going to end up mixing mine because I own all of the dragons and just taking out the duplicates, so there's a wider variety of stuff to choose from. But there's plenty in there if you only buy one of the dragons to use just that deck as a drafting deck. They're just the same size as the regular drafting deck, so you can do mix and match or do either. Again, as with any other campaign or whatnot, you're not just out to save the city, you're out to get some cool loot for yourself and your guild. There are a couple new reward cards in here. Some cool stuff. Trying to hide what exactly they are, so there's a little bit of surprise there, but you get those from various objectives throughout the scenario, and you can keep them for your fights against the other dragons. And then, as with all the dragons, there is a dragon power card. If you are the one who completes a specific scenario along the way, you're going to get the ability of the dragon power card. This goes in, it slides behind your normal character card, gives you a couple new stats, as well as a new ability that can be exhausted like any other weapon. Those are really cool, especially if you're going to fight multiple of the dragons. And then the model himself, Mog'dor here is probably my favorite of all the dragons as far as look goes. He's got that Chinese dragon vibe to him. Wingless, but somehow he still flies. Again, there's a whole section on that in the fluff story for him, but he's pretty cool. And that's a look at everything that comes with the Fire Dragon expansion. Again, it's another cool add-on. Some of the people have complained that the final scenario in Arcadia Quest and Beyond the Grave were a little bit of a letdown. I haven't done the Inferno one yet myself, so I can't comment on that, but these give you kind of an epic conclusion to your campaign, so it doesn't end on such a weak note. The one point that a lot of people bring up, though, is that these are built as a cooperative campaign. There's no real reason to attack the other guilds, which does take away from one of Arcadia Quest's core concepts of the take that, stab the other guilds in the back type thing. You're all working together to defeat the dragon, but you all want to get that little extra bit of glory for your guild. So there is still a competitive nature to it, and definitely a much more satisfying conclusion to a campaign. And the fact that you can run the multiple dragons back to back as multiple bosses really is kind of neat. Again, disappointed that the actual scenarios themselves are all identical for the dragons, but there's enough different abilities between the dragons. Like in his case, he has the fire tokens he puts all over, and then they explode into big fire bombs and burns the whole city down. That gives him an actual different wind token, so there's a chance that your dragon might destroy the entire city and you lose anyway. So there's a little bit difference on each of them in that respect, which makes them different enough, I think, that they're still fun to play. I just would have liked to see a little more thought, especially after the big delay, put into making them each a little more unique. They did make the dragons themselves unique, just not the scenarios. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for the Fire Dragon. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.